Experts are predicting an increase in COVID cases this summer.
However, it's not expected to be as serious as previous years. It's because the dominant variant KP.2, that's catchy, now accounts for 28% of current cases. Well, it seems to be harder to spread and causing less serious symptoms than previous variants.
All right, for some perspective on this, let's bring in NBC News medical contributor Dr. Kavita Patel. Good morning, Dr. Patel. So do we know how much of an increase is expected, and why do experts think this variant may be harder to transmit? I hope that's true than previous ones.
Yeah, Christine and Joe, this is actually a very interesting variant, KP2, as you mentioned, and it's because it has these specific mutations that make it slightly immune evasive. That means that people who have been infected previously or have been vaccinated previously can still get it. And I think that's why you're seeing a rise in cases. In Michigan, for example, we've seen a double-digit increase in cases. Globally, we've seen Singapore see such a high rise of cases. They've asked hospitals to delay some elective procedures. So it's needless to say, the globe is kind of bracing for this increase in cases we're seeing now. But as you mentioned, not an uptick in hospitalizations, not as severe, which is good news.
So as we said, the symptoms are also becoming more mild. What are some of the new typical symptoms people should be on the lookout for this summer? We know they often tend to look like a lot of other stuff we might get. And there's a risk people could have COVID without knowing it.
Yeah, I think, Joe, that is the biggest risk, because I've even had patients where I have thought going into the environment, this must be a common cold. I'm completely prepared to tell them this is a common cold. Then we run the panel and lo and behold, we're seeing positive COVID tests. So I think the moral of the story here is have those rapid antigen tests handy so that you can do some of this testing at home. But if you're in doubt, just get it checked out, because we can run the rapid tests in a clinic setting and literally let you know in minutes. And for some patients, that means you could have access to treatment like Paxlovid or some other treatments that might be appropriate. And you can also make sure that you restrict your movement so that you don't get other people sick, especially if you're immunocompromised, older, or have chronic conditions.
Yeah, you don't want to be lackadaisical about it. If it doesn't feel bad to you, it can still be very bad for other people. Even with the milder symptoms, what should we do? Should we try to be getting an updated vaccine before the summer?
Yeah, Christine, this is the trillion-dollar question. The FDA was set to meet in May. They delayed that meeting until June 5th, and we're going to be watching that meeting closely. But that's really to pick the variants for the booster for the fall. So I'm telling people, if you haven't had your vaccine in the last months, and by the way, only 1 in 5 adults have had their vaccine and even fewer children, then getting an updated vaccine, even though that immunity doesn't kick in right away, it can still protect you against hospitalization. So I do think it's important. I don't think we're going to see this huge summer surge, but we're seeing an uptick in cases. So if people are not vaccinated, it is not too late. You can get a booster. It's just one shot, no matter who you are. We've made it simple, and they're widely available in pharmacies and doctors' offices now.